What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. Now, shout out to Rolling Stone. They just dropped this morning, an exclusive interview with Andre SOG Ward. Obviously, he's talking about his most recent outing, his biggest payday, and that was the Sergey Kovalev fight. Great article, in depth. They ask him some questions, and the link is in the description in case you want to read. I'm going to do some pull quotes and give you guys the Boxing Ego thoughts. And Ward said some interesting things. He says, I'll be honest, I've had a lot of fights in my career, but this is probably the proudest I've been of myself based on how the fight went and having to show the world, show myself, show my team that I can win a different way. I've never had to come from behind, and it wasn't against a B class or C class fighter. It was against one who many said was the best light heavyweight, if not the best fighter in the world. I'm happy about the performance. Now, he goes on to say he was disappointed about something, and no, it wasn't the knockdown. He actually says, and I quote, I'm going to be honest, and this is taking nothing away from Kovalev because in my book, he's always going to be a champion, but I expected more from him in the ring. When you hear about the invincible character that the media has portrayed, I expected more. I expected to see the Krusher when it got tough in that fight, and I didn't see the Krusher. I didn't see that next gear that he had. I saw a fighter that's used to being the front runner. I saw a fighter that's used to having things his way, and when it didn't work out like that, he couldn't match the intensity. I obviously didn't appreciate the excuses and everything that were made after the fight, so I expected more from him. And that's coming from Andre Ward. He also says and hints that retirement may be his next decision. I really just got to take my time right now because I really don't have to fight anymore. I've accomplished pretty much everything that I've wanted to accomplish. It's not about the money anymore. It's just because God has blessed me to still have the ability to do it, and I still love it. I just really got to take my time right now and make sure that every decision that I make and every fight that I take is the right situation because if it's not, I don't know if it makes sense to continue on. I got some tough decisions in the next couple of months. Boxing isn't a sport to play with. Again, for the full Rolling Stone write-up, click the link in the description. Now I want to kind of give my thoughts. First of all, I watched the fight live. I was close. I had a great time. This was one of the fights that I was happy as a member of media, very happy that I got to witness live because certain fights I didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Like some fights are one-sided. Like let's say Crawford Postal. I thought that was going to be a really good back and forth type of fight where Crawford had to dig deep. He didn't have to dig deep. You know what I mean? It was pretty one-sided even. So it was a great performance to watch, but it wasn't back and forth competitive action. Ward had to dig deep. He had to show, like he's saying in this Rolling Stone interview, that other gear of coming back from behind. He was losing the first half of the fight, the early rounds and stuff like that. So he had to work himself back into the fight without making the same mistake that got him caught early against a very dangerous puncher and a champion and a guy that's naturally more acclimated and bigger than him, right? Acclimation is huge, just like the Kell Brook. If you look at what Kell Brook had success with Triple G, imagine if Kell Brook had 3 to 6 fights at that weight class and then fought Triple G. You know what I mean? He already gave Triple G some issue. So that's just a little side note. Being acclimated, Ward had, what did he have, 2 fights? And then he fought the toughest guy in the division, or the guy who most people consider the best light heavyweight. Yes, there's Adonis Stevenson and Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev, as good as he looks, he hasn't proven it on the grand stage. You know what I mean? He just looks like a killer right now. And I'm not saying he can't be a killer, but he has yet to prove that with the elite. The Campillos and stuff, that's really good for his resume where he's at right now. He has an amateur background and a win over Kovalev in the amateurs and all that. That's great, but he hasn't proven it. Guys like Adonis Stevenson and Kovalev and Ward have already proven that they are amongst the elite. A lot of people don't include Adonis because they think he ducked all these fights and the Kovalev. You still got to give the man credit for what it is. He has title defenses. He knocked out Chad Dawson, and a lot of people didn't even know who he was, right? Back to Ward Kovalev. Just an exceptional fight that I'm really glad that I got to witness live, and I agree with a lot of what Ward is saying. This was trust me, like most people in the crowd were like, oh, when he got knocked down, because you're not used to seeing that. It's just like Floyd getting rocked by Shane Mosley. Jim Lampley sound happy, like bang, bang, Floyd. You know what I mean? You're not used to seeing that. Or even when Pacquiao got knocked out. Yes, we know he had been knocked out earlier in his career, but when Marquez hit him with that right, when in a fight or a round at least, Pacquiao was clearly winning. You heard Roy Jones. He's like, whoa, he's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up. Like, it's shocking almost to see that. Just because we've seen Pacquiao dominant for so long. We've seen him in there with Pacquiao 3 other times, and he never even got knocked down until the 4th fight. And then he never obviously got knocked out by Marquez until the 4th fight. So seeing Ward on all fours get dropped by a powerhouse is just like, whoa, Kovalev ain't playing out there. So he did have a scare, but I agree, and I'm not going to change my opinion. You guys can leave all the mad comments and condescending comments and threaten to unsubscribe. That stuff, when you've been in this position as long as I have, when you've been doing this as long as I have, that comes with the territory. So I don't fret, I don't fear. I'm not going to cower down and tuck my tail and say something that I don't believe on my channel because that's what you want me to. You want me to believe Kovalev won because that's what you seen. I was there live and I seen it. I've broken down many a fight and I feel like I know how to break down a fight. Kovalev could have easily won had he done a little bit more in the second half, period. But again, when you see this, when you see a fighter, here's another current example that maybe some of you guys have watched. James DeGale versus Andre Dirrell. Badly hurt within the first 2 rounds, Andre Dirrell hit the canvas not once, but twice. And he worked himself back into that fight, right? To the point where some people had it a draw. Some people had Dirrell winning. James DeGale clearly faded as opposed to the first 2 rounds. You know what I mean? His later rounds did not look like that. Yes, he was game. Yes, he was still trying. Yes, Dirrell still had to be cautious of his power so he didn't get clipped again. But with no further knockdowns, it was a tight fight. Same thing with Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao. The first time, Pacquiao knocked down Marquez 3 times in round 1. Marquez still fought his way back into the fight. Lamont Peterson got knocked down by Victor Ortiz when he was kind of coming up in his prime and the next golden boy, and he worked his way back into a draw, right? Being knocked down is not the end-all be-all. Lamont Peterson, there's a little bit of controversy because of the point deductions later on, but he got knocked down by Amir Khan early in the fight, worked his way back. A lot of people don't know how to interpret boxing. And I'm not saying just if you think Kovalev won, you don't know how to interpret boxing, but it's just, I could tell by the comments that they're saying and what they continue to say. They look at who had more power. If this was just a strongman contest, then going into the fight and looking, you can go to BoxRec and look at guys' knockout ratio and be like, hey, he has a 90% knockout ratio and this guy has a 56% knockout ratio. So I could tell you before the fight even starts who's the stronger person, who's hitting harder. You know what I mean? But it's not just, it's like some Rocky. I feel like, not to be cliche, you got to take it like Rocky. It's not how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you can keep getting hit and keep moving forward. Drago! Like, you got to talk like Rocky now for fans to understand it. A knockout is sensational. If you have power, that's a great tool. But that's not the end-all be-all. That doesn't mean you automatically won because you're a champion and you hurt your opponent. You know what I mean? He's the Krusher. He's supposed to hurt you if he connects in the fashion that he did do. But the flip side of that logic to me is this. If he's the Krusher, how come he was not able to close the show or even come close to closing the show like he has been in the past, right? When he's hurt guys in the past, Jean Pascal, what happened? They get knocked out shortly after. Pascal's flying all over the ring, drunk, and then the ref was like, no, waving it off. Fights like Ishmael Salak, Cedric Agnew, I've watched his whole career. Even the Blake Caparello fights, small fights like that, right? Caparello knocked down Kovalev. Kovalev got back up, like, oh shit, okay, I can't sleep on this guy's power. Then got back to business and then end up stopping Blake, right? I watched the Muhammadi fight. And it looked like he broke Muhammadi's nose. Kovalev can crack. We know this. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's more impressive. What Ward is saying, that the fact that he could work his way back into the fight, the way Marquez worked his way back into the Pacquiao fight, Lamont Peterson in the Ortiz fight, Andre Durrell in the James DeGale fight, that is impressive to me because it shows some kind of mental fortitude or drive or willpower to get to the next level and to not let that define the whole fight, because you're really trying to come from behind. And you have to look at it. How come the champion, the bigger guy, the bigger puncher, and the bully, the perceived bully, was not a bully in that second half, and he was never able to hurt Ward like that again and drop him? Or it's not about like you have to be able to drop him multiple times, but typically when you have a puncher, like even to Terrence Crawford, I don't even know Terrence Crawford's power in conjunction to his division versus a Kovalev, but Crawford's considered more of a variety fighter. Kovalev's considered a boxer, puncher with crazy power, you know what I mean? But Crawford hurt Postal not once, multiple times, and he had multiple knockdowns, right? So it's not impossible. It's just Kovalev, he didn't switch to that championship level gear in those later rounds, and he made for an extremely close and tight fight. And another thing that is ridiculous amongst boxing fans is I've even seen people leave comments like, oh, I had Kovalev winning by 1 round. I would be okay with the draw. But then when someone says I had Ward winning by 1 round or 2 rounds, no! What do you mean he won by 1 round? So why is it inconceivable, like Princess Bride, inconceivable? Why would it be inconceivable that if you had a razor tight fight where Kovalev won by 1 round, somebody could have scored 1 or 2 close competitive rounds slightly different from you? You know what I'm saying? That just shows the level of bias. Any video I've done about this fight, I never said Ward dog Kovalev and Kovalev ain't this and ain't that and he's not all this, he was built up to be and all that in a bag of chips. I never said that. I said it was a close fight. I seen it live. I watched it again. It was a competitive fight, but you've seen the shift in momentum in the second half, and I really attribute it to Ward's willpower and his body work. He was slowing Kovalev down, and like Ward said in the Rolling Stone magazine, Kovalev is used to being the front runner. Normally that's enough. He's such a good boxer with devastating power that nobody recovers. Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't know what to do when hurt. But you see elite level guys like Floyd Mayweather, like Andre Ward, you know what I mean? And they can be hurt and still have their senses about them. Like if you don't knock them out with a single shot, that's when the dog comes out. Oh, I'm in a real fight now. You've seen this with Mayweather versus Mosley. Mosley rocked Shane Mosley rocked Floyd. And personally, that shot probably would have had some other people who were Floyd level sized out of there, because he hit him flush, he hit him fast, he connected perfectly. He had just stopped Margarito. I mean, and he hurt him again. He hit him in the temple, and Floyd's like you know what I mean, tap dancing and stuff on the floor. Floyd was smart enough to be like, cool, I've been hurt before. Zab Judah hurt me. I got hurt in sparring by Spatafor or whatever. I've been here before. Hold on for dear life. Clinch. I lost this round. Let's get back to business. And that's what he did. And he went back to what he knows. He didn't fight scared. See, that's how you know when someone's elite. Floyd got hurt versus Mosley. And had he not gotten hurt twice, that could have almost been a 10-9 round. But obviously, I would have probably scored it a 10-8 round personally, just because how bad he got hurt twice. You know what I'm saying? It was so visible. But if you really watch that round 2, if you really know boxing, really watch that round 2, Floyd, after he clinched for dear life and stuff, he started being aggressive. Like, that's proving and discouraging your opponent. And if you know boxing, you will know these things. That's discouraging. You hit someone with your best, what's that song? Hit me with your best shot. Doom, doom, doom. You hit someone with your best shot and you're a power puncher. Shane Mosley was annihilating lightweights. You know what I mean? And he just annihilated a granite chin Margarito. You hit someone with that type of shot and they're still in front of you. Very discouraging. You're like, what do I got to do? Is this the, you know what I mean? Was it Terminator? And he's getting more aggressive and Floyd's accurate. Now back to Ward Kovalev, it was kind of the same thing, right? Ward went out on all fours, and Kovalev is used to guys don't really survive much longer than that. And they damn sure don't like win. They got to do like the Bernard Hopkins fight with Kovalev, where to me, this is just my opinion. I love B-Hop, legend. He got hurt in the first round, dropped in the first round. And to me, Bernard Hopkins, knowing his age and stuff, he wasn't really gunning to make the fight, just like Victor Postol and Terrence Crawford. In my opinion, when Crawford showed his power and knocked down Postol was doing enough to make you feel like he's trying, but he wasn't going for broke. You know what I mean? Some guys will go for James Kirkland, he'll go for broke, and you've seen what happened in the fight. It's high risk, but it's also high. It's high risk, but that's the only way to get the reward. You know what I mean? Because Canelo started piecing him up, knocking him down. You know what I mean? He has to do something to try to get some respect. And unfortunately, when you open yourself up, you become open for more counters, and you're already hurt and stuff and on bad legs. So it's a dangerous approach, but it's kind of the approach you have to take. Otherwise, you're going to get taken out anyway. Might as well go out on your shield. But in certain fights, another fight that comes to mind off the top of my head, because I know my boxing, Joseph Igbeko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux was, once Igbeko started feeling what Rigondeaux had to offer, he was like, I'm content kind of surviving, going the distance with this dude. If I do too much, this guy's precision, his power, southpaw stand, too much. So I'm just going to do enough to just be here and lose a decision. I've lost before to, what's his name? Abner Mares. So I'll just chalk it up as a loss. Ward did not do that. Ward didn't chalk anything up as a loss. He didn't just be like, oh, I got knocked down, so let me just throw a couple punches. Or here's another. I can think of so many examples. Keith Thurman versus Leonard Bundu. He dropped Bundu in the first round. Keith Thurman didn't get too aggressive, but he was boxing more. Bundu was just doing this herky-jerky stuff to, you know what I mean, just veteran stuff. But he clearly wasn't winning the rounds from Keith Thurman. He just was making it difficult for Keith Thurman, throwing a couple punches when it was safe and stuff like that. Ward didn't do none of that. He brought the fight even more to Kovalev, in his chest, ripping his body. There were parts where the ref was just letting them like one hand free in the clinch, and Ward was like manhandling the bigger guy, the bully, and like pushing him off. And then as he pushed him off, hit him into the stomach. Kovalev wasn't used to that. He's not used to that type of stuff. It's really standing up to the bully, and for that reason, I think that's why he lost. Great interview, Rolling Stone. Let me know what you guys think of Andre Ward. If he wants to retire, hey, that's my dude. That's his decision. I personally think it might be a hardball tactic because how Kovalev's team is acting, kind of like Pacquiao after he lost to Mayweather. I understand these big fights, you don't want to lose them, but it's just coming off as poor sportsmanship every other day. It's a Ward post and son of judges and we beat you and look at, he's surprised, watch this videotape. That doesn't get your belts back. That doesn't do anything. So you're better off just, I lost. It doesn't change your box rec, and then try to get your revenge in the rematch. But all the petty stuff, I mean, it's entertaining. I'm still going to report about it. It's still funny, some of it, but ultimately it doesn't change anything. So I think kind of, this is just my opinion. This is not coming from Ward or Ward camp or anything like that. It just seems to me that Ward might be playing the hardball. Like, okay, y'all want to play like that? I might retire. Now you won't get no revenge, and you don't have no opportunity to get vindication. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to think about it. He made a career high payday. So, I mean, he's lamping. I think he was in Jamaica last time I seen him on social media. So that's just my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. Andre Ward, Rolling Stone interview. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.